Hi folks. Have you ever had one of those projects that just kicked your butt? I know everyone has. Most people won't show it to you though. But I really didn't want to show you this one either, but maybe somebody will learn from it and maybe somebody tell me what the heck went wrong. Stick around. Stand beside my latest acquisition that I need to get running pretty quick. It does run. I took off the cover up here so you can kind of see how things are. This little point right up in here right here, there's a hole, and that's supposed to be oiled twice daily. Well, you want to bet that was done. So I got to use it this morning to make something for a little job. I got this all off the other day and went kind of through there and was looking at things and called Closing up and talked to the lady and ordered all three belts. There's a bearing up here that needs changed, one down in here that needs changed, and another one down here, but they're on this spindle sticking up, and there's a lot of force applied to that. So without even looking at it, I'm pretty sure it's got a lot of wear. So just a second. All right, I'm back. Went to get something to show you. The spindle up here, it's kind of complicated. It's got a lot of wear of force on it all the time. So I asked them how much it would cost. And here's a brand new one. And if you can look, you got two keyways. One slides up and down. This one's fixed for that bottom pulley. And you got a different step here, another step, and then a thread. This was turned between centers. It's got a ring on down here for a snap ring. This is hardened and ground. And I can't make it for $94. I can make it, got all the tools. Just by the time I heat treat this, get the material, heat treat it, grind it, then start cutting all the keyways and everything, it's a 4 or 5 hour job starting everything. So it's cheap, and that was the nice thing about the closing parts. I bought the belts, this spindle, and all of the bearings in the whole machine for right at just under $500. So I don't know if I need to do anything in this area. Probably not, because basically everything's fixed except for that shaft, this bottom part of the Reeves pulley coming up and down. If I need to, we'll go there, but don't need to. Right now, I'm going to work on another project that I desperately need. Let me back. I'm currently installing a security keypad in a big oil field place. Taking a lot of time because I have to go over there and spend the night, a couple nights, and do the work. And it's hot as blazes out there. And it takes me 2 days to recover from 1 day of hard work. Not as young as I used to be. Anyway, my keypad has to have a variety of cables coming to it for the different cameras and the power and then the triggers to the gate operators. So I need at least a 3/4 inch conduit. So I told the people when they told me they wanted to put the keypad across the road that I needed a ditch and conduit laid. And they said, great, no problem. Well, it's taken 3 weeks, and I'm going, it's just a simple ditch. Well, I went over to the job last week on Tuesday or Thursday. These guys do it right. They got a hydrovac truck out there and excavated. A hydrovac truck is something sort of like the pressure one at your car wash. When you put it in the dirt, it cuts real well. And then they have a vacuum truck with a big hose that they stick down there, and they suck up all the water and the mud and the rocks and everything. It's a really neat way of doing it. It's really expensive, but you don't run a risk of cutting any pipelines or pipes or conduits that way, so that's the way they do it. They went down 3 feet. I asked for 2 conduit, 3/4 inch PVC is fine. Just don't put more than 3 bends in it. It's about 250 feet long. They put in 3 conduits, 1 inch, stainless steel lookout coming up out of the ground, then goes to PVC then they put all of that through a 4-inch stainless steel pipe all the way down. They cased it with that pipe. And then when I was leaving the other day, the concrete truck showed up and they were pouring concrete on top of all of that. And then they were packing in some gravel and road material. Most expensive ditch I've ever seen. Anyway, they didn't put any pull strings in. Well, I have to use a vacuum cleaner to pull it through. And I'll show you that in a minute. But my problem is I work by myself. Ever since COVID, I don't have any helpers, and I usually do okay. But in a long run like that, it's hard pulling the conduit, the wires. So I'm back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I'm going to make a little thing to help me out, I think. You saw my new come along, my electric remote controlled come along. It's got 37 feet of cable on it, and what I was going to do is hook it to the end of my pull string, and then I can be overfeeding the cables into the conduit at the other end with a remote and having it pull 37 feet at a time. The problem is this conduit is sticking straight up out of the ground, and I need a 37-foot tall ladder to hang my puller from. So I got to thinking the other day, and a little show and tell. Well, here's just a piece of 1/2-inch conduit. Now this is sticking up out of the ground and it's threaded here. Well, I need to pull straight up, but I don't have a crane to do that. But I could park my truck 30 feet away, tie onto the pull string and pull it this way. But it would cut it, and it's just no good. So I said, I need something different. Looked around, I couldn't find anything, so what I've come up with is I'm going to take this 1-inch coupling, screw it onto the pipe, make a pulley that will fit up and redirect it to the left or right, whichever way I want to. And I got to thinking, well, I can make the pulley easy, got some old bearings. Then I got to make an ears and all that, and then it hit me. Well, Caster has all that same stuff already made. Why don't you repurpose one of these into what you want? So that's what I'm going to do. So I got to destroy this. I don't need the swivel part, because what I'll do is I'll weld these ears straight to mine, and it'll swivel because of the screws. And then I'll replace this with a V-groove pulley, Bob's your uncle. So it's a long-winded explanation of what I'm going to do, but I don't want to walk 400 miles back and forth tomorrow morning, so I got to get it done today. Stay tuned. Seeing as how it's Sunday, we're going to use the Musty One preferred hammer in honor of Musty always putting out videos on Sunday. what happened to this camera. As I was saying, now that I've got this disassembled, I have the perfect thing for my pulley. And I didn't have to make it, just $10 and tear apart. And it's going to be pretty strong. I'm going to take this coupling and weld here. I need to enlarge that hole so that I have a nice, easy way for the string to come up and the cable after it comes up too. And then roll, and I can pull this way now, from this direction, that direction. I'm going to go ahead and weld a ring here so that I can tie a stake or a cable or chain or something to a stake that I drive in the ground, and to counteract the pulling force. I don't think I'll need it on this job, but this could be handy. That's going to work. Weld this on, make a new wheel, and we're done. I thought I was looking out. I looked at my scrap and I had this little piece, but it's too little. I want to get the inside of the groove of the pulley I'm making to be directly over the hole. This ain't going to cut it. So I had to pull out another piece of stock. I'm going to cut about 3 inches off the other end so I have enough to hold the new pulley I'm making, and when I'm through, I'll still have a piece of stock I can use on something else. This electro-galvanized plating plays hell when you try to weld on it. So get it down to bare metal like that right there. Much better. Now the easy part. Put these two pieces together. Of course, I gotta find them to put them together. I think this will work pretty good like this. Where are you? Notice how much sparks comes off of it. And all that white stuff's coming out of there. Okay, that ought to hold. I love this thing. It's expensive. I think it's worth every bit. Probably somebody else has thought of this, but I didn't know about it, so it doesn't count. Threads onto a 1-inch conduit. A little ring right there. I can tie a stake on it and then a pull string to resist the force when we're pulling this way. Make the pulley and put it on and we're through. Well, now that I've got the bracket made for the wheel, I got to make the wheel. And as you saw, I cut off a piece of aluminum stock to make the wheel because I needed it to be a certain size and I didn't have any. Well, after I got it cut, as I was opening that door right there, staring me in the face was this piece of steel. Much better than the 4.5 inch. So we're going to keep this for some other project and go on, make it out of steel. A bit farther. Now, even though I haven't been putting out a lot of videos the last couple weeks, it's been so hot out here that I go work out one day and it takes me 2 to 3 days to recover from losing about 43 gallons of sweat. But I have been doing things, and I want to show you my latest little project that just went off the rails. A new Clausing 20-inch drill press. It showed you in a couple videos ago. all the parts that come in to rebuild it, all of the, that's every bearing there is in there. And I went ahead and bought a new intermediate jack shaft. You know, I can make this easily enough, but by the time I do all of this, cut that long keyway there, and there's a short keyway, and gotta have a C-clip ring there, and all these bearing surfaces nicely polished, ground. It cost me a lot more than $93 in time and effort to make that, so I just went ahead and bought one. It shows up in the mail and we're ready to go. Got a full set of belts for it. Been working and got a video coming out on this. This is the rail where I'm practicing flaking, trying to duplicate the flaking on this so I can get it stood up and painted and out of here. Well, some different, if you see underneath here, those lines, you see them right in here. I've been using a power flaker, or excuse me, power scraper. That one right there. Get it flat first. This is almost flat, and then I switched to this biax flaker with different blades. There's the last one I tried. Different speeds and everything, trying to match the half moon flaking that I've got on the Bridgeport. These last ones here were a miserable failure. So once and I've got plenty of room down here to keep going. And then if it doesn't, I'll just scrape all that off with the planer here and got a whole new fresh surface. I haven't moved this since I planed it last. So once we get it dialed in, you know, this machine works by rotating like this. And when you put it up to your workpiece, you push down in on this, and that starts that motion going through there. And you can go fast, you can go slow, you can speed it up down here on the end. Doesn't have the other adjustment that the regular Biox has, but that one rotates. And depending on how fast you go across, the size of your blade and everything depends on what kind of pattern you get. So I think I know what I need to do to get that other one. The one problem with this one and all of these is at the top of this pattern here, these are close to size of what's on there now. This is just a little too thick right there. So if I can skinny that up, more like this one here. Anyway, been working on that, but I needed a piece to help me install one of my gates at a big old refinery tank farm. And I ran to the shop and decided to make this accessory, and I'll show you a piece of it. But this is the screw up. If you look down in here, let's see if I can get you a light. Now, I don't know what material that is. I have no clue. I thought it was 4140. And I grabbed it because it was just about the right size, chucked it up in old Bob, and started making the pulley I wanted. And then I took it out and put it on my vertical bandsaw and started parting it off. Well, as you can see, it didn't get parted all the way off. Finally, you know, I started over here and it was cutting fine, had lots of space left, going right through it, and then all of a sudden I looked up and it was doing things like that, taking a dive on me. This is a 1-inch blade, and it started taking a dive over. So I backed it up, rotated this piece like this, and started again. And it went pretty good till it got about here. The whole blade, 1-inch wide blade, was in there, and it started taking another dive. So I pushed it around again. I was in a hurry. I just wanted to get it parted off. What I didn't see was on the bottom, it was going all the way over. And then what shocked the hell out of me when I got this chisel in there, and I don't know if you can see this very good. It's kind of hard. But the blade was going that way, inside the material. In a 1/2 inch, it was bending that dadgum 1-inch wide blade. And it made this convex by 1/4 inch in there. It's kind of hard to see. See how that's convexed? And concave on this part. That machine was set up with a good blade, the lightest feed pressure there was, period. I couldn't make it go any slower or lighter feed. And it was still doing that every time. What the heck happened? Well, after all that, my saw mangled it. I don't know what that metal is, but it's tough. The problem is, I got to get up at 4 in the morning and go over to Port Arthur. And this has got to go with me. And I'm tired, and I don't think I have the whole night to do it again. So I've decided to punt. One thing I learned a long time ago as a paramedic firefighter is not everything goes as it should. So always have a backup plan. Seeing as how this is a test piece, and it only has to work for about 250 feet of pull string coming through it. And seeing as how I totally made a mess out of that damn wheel, I'm going to take the original wheel and see if I can cut a groove in it that can last 250 feet. Then I'll find another piece of steel or even aluminum for this thing and do it when I have a chance. So, see if I can at least make a groove in it. You got an interlock on the spindle lock. I locked it to take the vise off. You gotta have that out or nothing works. That's weird. Got a nice little, can y'all see? Probably not. Down into the black of it, the rubber's not too far. about all the depth I want to go. I don't know how much is left in there. Huh. Why didn't I do this the first time? Just that's going to have to do. I'm out of time tonight. Well, my project's a half a failure. It would be better if I had some longer range on my puller, but that's the pipe I have to go through. And what I've resorted to, because my remote won't reach that far, is walking out and grabbing hold of a screwdriver and pulling. I gotta pull from way over there. So basically, I got a conduit that goes all the way over there, then crosses the road at a 90-degree angle. It comes up here. Well, there's that little piece I made yesterday. And that's working wonderful. It's not working so much wonderful as my pulley over here, or excuse me, my winch. It works. It's just kind of slow and the remote doesn't reach as far. But I'm able to pull it by hand and just walk part of the way every time, so I sure do like this part. That redirects that string, or I wouldn't be able to pull it without having to walk all the way back here. I love it when a plan comes together, even a part plan. Well, it's going to be a short video. I went ahead and made it using another part of the wheel that I took apart. I'll show you a picture of that before I go. And it worked just fine once I got to the job, but I got to make another one. I don't know what metal this is, and I don't have a gun to check it. And I don't, you know, it cut decent. It was hard as heck, and I couldn't get it to break a chip. But it shocked me that that blade would take off going that way at such light pressure. So I don't know what's going on. Anybody got any ideas? Thanks for watching.